It is a curious thing, Harry, but perhaps those who are best suited to power are those who have never sought it. Albus Dumbledore said that long after the fire in his own eyes had dimmed, after the wars had been fought, and the cost of truth had grown too high to pay. But what if that quote, like so many things about the man, was not a reflection of wisdom, but guilt? Tonight, we walk the shadowed path of a man hailed as a hero, a genius, and a guide to generations of witches and wizards. But behind every twinkle in his eye lay something left unsaid, something carefully hidden. This is the story of the things Albus Dumbledore never told anyone, not even Harry Potter. Welcome to the Forgotten Mage. Albus Dumbledore was born in 1881 to Kendra and Percival Dumbledore. From the beginning, he was extraordinary, intelligent beyond measure, gifted in every magical discipline. But like so many brilliant minds, he was born into tragedy. His father, Percival, was imprisoned in Azkaban when Albus was still young for attacking 3 Muggle boys. The reason? They had attacked his daughter, Ariana, leaving her traumatized and unstable, her magic uncontrollable. Percival never defended himself in court. He accepted Azkaban rather than risk exposing Ariana's condition to the world. So Dumbledore grew up with a secret already stitched into the fabric of his family, a secret born of shame, violence, and love, twisted by pain. After his father's imprisonment, his mother, Kendra, moved the family to Godric's Hollow to live in seclusion. Albus, Ariana, and Aberforth, a gifted child, a broken child, and a stubborn brother, they were bound together by duty, by resentment, and by silence. The young Albus excelled at Hogwarts. He was sorted into Gryffindor, though many believe the sorting hat nearly placed him in Ravenclaw. He dazzled his professors, earned awards for magical theory, and was even offered a position on the Wizengamot while still a student. But what few noticed was the pride beginning to swell beneath his humility. A mind like his was rarely challenged, until it met another just as bright and far more dangerous. When Albus graduated and returned to Godric's Hollow to care for Ariana, he was bitter, angry. His plans, academic pursuits, world travel, grand ideas were all cut short. Then came Gellert Grindelwald. Grindelwald was expelled from Durmstrang for conducting dark magical experiments. Dangerous, brilliant, and utterly magnetic. The two met in Godric's Hollow during a summer that changed everything. They spoke for hours every day, debating magical ethics, the role of wizardkind, the failings of the ministry. But behind those intellectual conversations grew something deeper, ambition and affection tangled in a dangerous union. They discovered the mutual obsession, the Deathly Hallows, 3 mythical objects that could make one the master of death: the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, the Invisibility Cloak. To Dumbledore, the Resurrection Stone became the focus. Not power, not conquest, but the fantasy of redemption. The fantasy that he could undo what life had already taken. Ariana, his mother, his family. To Grindelwald, it was power, pure and simple. The Hallows were tools to enforce a vision of magical supremacy over Muggles, not out of hatred, but from a twisted belief in destiny. They even coined a phrase to justify it: for the greater good. This wasn't a slogan. It was a pact, and it would end in ruin. Aberforth, Albus's younger brother, had always been fiercely protective of Ariana. He saw through Grindelwald's charm and challenged the entire foundation of their plans. One night, Aberforth confronted them. He demanded that Albus abandon Grindelwald and remain at Ariana's side. The argument turned into a duel, chaotic, fiery, and tragic. No one knows who cast the curse that killed Ariana. Aberforth believed it might have been Albus. Albus feared the same, and Grindelwald, he fled. This single event changed everything. Dumbledore lost his sister, his friend, and his soul's innocence in one night. He never forgave himself, never trusted his own judgment again. He refused to pursue power, refused even to become Minister of Magic, though offered the post multiple times. He buried Ariana in Godric's Hollow and buried the truth even deeper. The Hallows were never just a myth to Dumbledore. They were an anchor, a reminder of his greatest failure. He abandoned the quest publicly, but privately, he never stopped looking. He traced the Elder Wand to Antioch Peveril. He knew of the Peveril bloodline. He kept track of its passage through legend and duels. When Grindelwald stole the wand, Dumbledore knew exactly what it was. As for the Resurrection Stone, it haunted him, not just as a relic, but as the ultimate temptation to bring back Ariana, his mother, even Grindelwald, not to speak with, but to understand. But Dumbledore knew the Hallows corrupted those who sought them. So he did what he always did, with dangerous knowledge. He hid it from the world and from himself. In 1945, after years of silence, Grindelwald had built an empire. He had taken the Elder Wand and become nearly unstoppable in Europe. He left destruction in his wake, though he never attacked Britain. Perhaps, deep down, he still feared Albus. But Dumbledore could wait no longer. He confronted Grindelwald in what would become the most legendary duel in magical history. The details are scarce, deliberately so. Neither man spoke of it afterward, but we know this. Dumbledore defeated Grindelwald, took the Elder Wand, and imprisoned his former friend in Nurmengard, a prison Grindelwald himself had built for his enemies. And yet, Dumbledore did not kill him. Why? Was it mercy? Guilt? A final act of love? Or perhaps he hoped Grindelwald would someday redeem himself. Years later, Grindelwald would lie to Voldemort, refusing to tell him the wand's location. In that moment, perhaps, the boy Albus once knew truly returned. Years passed. Voldemort rose and fell and rose again. Dumbledore discovered the Gaunt family, a pure bloodline descending from Salazar Slytherin, twisted by isolation and madness. In their ruined home, he found a ring. Set in it, a black stone carved with the symbol of the Hallows, the Resurrection Stone, and Dumbledore used it. He, who had warned so many others against temptation, could not resist it himself. He wanted to see his family again. One moment, one word, one apology. But the ring was cursed, placed as a trap by Voldemort. Dumbledore was dying from the moment he put it on. He told no one. Instead, he asked Severus Snape to help control the curse's spread, then, later, to end his life. On his terms, he orchestrated his own death, planned it like a chess move, all to protect Draco Malfoy's soul, and to strengthen Voldemort's trust in Snape. Even his death was a lesson, a manipulation, a gift, and another secret. All through Harry's 6th year, Dumbledore shared memories, clues, truths about Voldemort's Horcruxes, but never the full truth. He did not tell Harry about the Elder Wand, even though he knew Voldemort would seek it. He didn't explain the stone hidden in the snitch. He didn't reveal the cloak's legacy, even knowing Harry was its rightful heir. Why? Because he believed that the best path forward was not knowledge, but sacrifice. Because he believed Harry had to die, and that belief broke him. In the moment before his death, when Harry stood at King's Cross, Dumbledore finally admitted it, that he'd tried to manipulate fate, that he'd tried to raise Harry like a pig for slaughter, and that he was sorry. When Harry met Dumbledore beyond the veil, he saw the man stripped of secrets. No grandeur, no riddles, just honesty. Dumbledore admitted his flaws, his temptations, his sins. He called himself unworthy to unite the Hallows because he had sought them for selfish reasons. And in the end, he had only mastered death by choosing not to flee it. He died, not to defeat Voldemort, but to guide Harry, to let another make the choices he never could. After the war, after Voldemort's fall, Dumbledore remained a mystery. He left no memoir, no confession. Only fragmented truths passed through others' eyes. Harry, Snape, Aberforth, Elphias Doge, Rita Skeeter. Even in death, he remained a puzzle. Was he a hero? Yes. Was he manipulative? Absolutely. But most importantly, he was a man haunted by guilt, lifted by love, obsessed with control, and finally humbled by mortality. Albus Dumbledore never claimed to be perfect, but he never admitted how deeply flawed he truly was. He died with the Elder Wand in his grasp, the resurrection stone buried beside him, and the cloak passed on to Harry. In the end, he possessed all 3 Hallows, and yet used none for his own glory. Perhaps that is why death came to him not as a thief, but as an old friend,